Good evening, viewers, and welcome to week 19 of Can You Fix Nigeria Challenge. I have with me tonight Mr. Femi Olaiya. Mr. Femi is the former CEO of Nigeria's leading broadcasting or media outfit, AfroMedia, and he's currently the strategy director at X&A Technologies in Lagos. Mr. Femi, it's great to have you with us tonight.
Thank you so very much. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being with us. I really appreciate your time. I know that people like you are very busy, so we will not take too much of your time tonight. But as much as possible, I'd like to go through a few things with you. Let me start by asking you the question. You know, it's a very popular saying that you cannot reap what you have not sown. And one of the issues that seems to challenge me as we were doing this series is people always say to me, Ade, we don't have people, Nigerians are not as patriotic as we used to be before. We're not so committed to Nigeria as we used to be when we were younger, or in times past. What's your feel about this? Do you think that there's a deficiency of patriotism on the side of Nigerians, both the leadership and the followership? Please tell us.
Okay, well, let me start first of all by saying, before you talk about patriotism, you must identify with something. Before you talk about loyalty, you would be able to say, this is this person, and I'm loyal to this person. Now, what I have seen around Nigeria is that everybody belongs to a nation. And a nation is an intellectual or something imaginative. It is not something you can touch. For instance, if you say you belong to the Yoruba nation, it simply means you subscribe to the culture, traditions, and beliefs of the Yoruba. The same thing goes for I belong to the Hausa nation and all of that. So a nation within a polity. A polity is more or less like a group of all these nations. So you say you are a nation within this polity. So that Nigeria is like a polity. And then you have various nations within Nigeria. Now, Nigeria as a polity, for it to become a super nation, which should house all these many nations, needs to have a way of bringing everybody together to be able to say you belong. So that all the constituent nations that are inside this polity called Nigeria will believe that they are Nigerians as well. Now, but in a situation, so what you get is almost everybody is patriotic to their ethnic nationalities. Nobody seems to be interested in the Nigeria nationality. Why? Because that Nigerian nationality has not been properly defined. Now, it has not been properly defined, and nobody seems to know what does Nigeria stand for. The only thing that we understand about Nigeria is the politics we play, the laws, the rules, the emblems, the national identity cards, and all of that. Outside of that is to say that thing in your mind, that ideology that you will embrace. I think a perfect example would be religion. A Christian believes and they are super loyal. Let me use the same word that we're using here, patriotic of their religion. Correct. The Muslim is patriotic of his religion because it is very clear in each person's mind what Christianity stands for, what Islam stands for. The traditional guy believes in his tradition because it's clear what it stands for. There's no clarity in terms of what Nigeria stands for. So what you find in national space is patriotism, or people are patriotic to their ethnic nationalities. So we have various ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, and everybody is patriotic of that. Very few people, or almost nobody, seems to care about the country called Nigeria. Other than the fact that I carry a passport that is Nigeria, I carry a national identity that is Nigeria. What Nigeria is not clear.
It's not clear. Wow.
Or in anybody. I mean, I can get into a debate to say somebody should tell me exactly what it is that I'm going to be patriotic to.
That was the next question I was going to ask you, actually. Because you touched on so many points there. So let me try and start picking them one by one, at least as much as I can remember.
Okay.
So one central issue that you said that is that there's no core. I mean, the way I took it is that there's no core, there's no central theme of what makes
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Yes.
But my question to you is, but why is that so? Now, I know that somebody will say, okay, yeah, because we have many ethnic groups and all, but we're not the only country that has many ethnic groups. In Europe, if you go to the former Yugoslavia, there were at least 8 major nationalities there. You go to the UK today, you have 4: Welsh, Scottish, Irish, English, but that doesn't mean that they're not making progress. So in our own case, why is it that we don't seem to be able to come together for a national
I
identity?
would use the example, recent example that everybody will be able to identify with will be the American example. America contains almost all nationalities. You will see now we are hearing of, first of all, here the African American, now we are hearing Nigerian American,
Okay.
British American, almost all nationalities are there. So I have my nation, but I subscribe to the bigger nation.
Correct.
And the reason is that it is clear in everybody's mind what America stands for. America is a land of opportunity. America is a land of equality. America is a land where you can dream and your dreams will come true. It has been defined. Everybody knows it. And then there is no segregation, so to speak, against any particular person. In recent times, somebody rose up and tried to, there were issues that tends to suppress a particular group, which is considered to be the blacks. And you have the whites claiming the supremacy over the whites. Everybody rose up and said, this is not America. This is not the way it works in America. Everybody has fundamental equal rights.
Right.
Everybody. Black Americans, white Americans. Of course, there are the few people who want to say, hey, we own America. And then there are the many people who said the America, and you hear people say our founding fathers founded us on this ideology. So It is very clear what it is that we believe in America, what it is that America stands for. Question again is, why is it that we do not have such thing around here? Truth of the matter is, in every society, 3 people, should I say 2 people or 3 people? But then I would explain. 3 people are responsible for shaping that conversation. You see, whether you are going to be seen as a nation that everybody will agree to is a function of the media. Yeah. What the media propagates. So if the media is talking about what binds us instead of what separates us, we will begin to find our supranationality. Let me use the word supranationality instead of just name, because we already identified ourselves. Immediately I saw your name, hey, my brother, the Yoruba man. It's not difficult. I meet you anywhere, I can greet you very easily. Go straight to our culture, things that we have in common. The same thing goes with the Igbo man. The same thing goes with the Hausa man. But then as a Nigerian, chances are that apart from my personality to say, oh, this is also a human being, I might just walk past you.
And you might as well just walk past me in the street. Wow.
You might carry a Nigerian. So what would make me attend to you would be my respect for humanity, regardless of where you're from. Yeah, but then the ideology. So back to the question of why is it that we don't have that is, our media has not been able to couch an agenda to say, let us begin to speak of one nation. The second people that are also important in this is our politicians. More than anything else, our politicians are supposed to speak much more of what binds us together than what separates us. And then number 3 will be the intellectuals within the community. What are they saying? More often than not, our intellectuals will keep quiet. They're not, it's either they do not have a platform to talk, or they are too entrenched in government patronage that they do not want to see anything that will rock the boat. So these people, if they come around and we start the discourse of nation building, this is what Nigeria stands for, or we have someone who comes up and says, no, Nigeria is for everybody, everywhere, wherever, all over the place. But if you have, for instance, again, you have a conversation going on now that there is herdsmen or the Fulani is trying to have, is trying to overrun the whole of the country and then create a Fulani hegemony. Hey, as far-fetched as this is to my mind, to say a few people are going to, how do you do it in warfare? You cannot do that. It's not, carry your gun. At some point, some people will push back. They'll carry their own guns and whatever it is you think you have. But then, because government or politicians have not stood up to say it is not the case, we have people running rogue and we will deal with them. So everybody goes to their different nationalities for their own.
I see. I mean, Mr. Femi, thank you very much for that. You know, see, I see where you're coming from. Do you understand? And particularly when you talk about this herdsmen issue. In fact, it was one of the series that we took when we were looking at this, because we looked at a series on security as well. And I'm hopeful, because this is such a serious issue that it needs to be taken, do you understand, outside just chit-chat. It's a very serious issue and it needs to be looked at in detail. But let me come back, though, to one of the questions that somebody's asked me before. Do you understand? You know, I once put a question to one of our senior friends, and I said to him, I said, look, if you are president of Nigeria or if you are in position of authority, how can you change that trend, the trend of what we have now? Do you know, and you know what he said to me is, without missing a beat, he said, we need to reteach our kids. Do you understand? We need to re-educate people from when they were young. Now, when people like you and I were growing up, I went to a federal government school, and these federal government colleges, I went to school in the north, in the northern part of Nigeria. That project was started in the 70s to bring people from Nigeria together. NYSC is the same thing. I served in the East. Do you understand? So we had those kind of programs before. Now, can't we, is there a way that we as a country can harness that? Do you understand? Those kind of programs that bring about unity and give them a renewed impetus to make our country better. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with your friend completely that national reorientation is very fundamental to creating patriotism. There's no doubt about it. Because what basically happens is we have been programmed, all of us have been programmed or are being programmed by our ethnic nationalities.
Correct.
So, and then what we read in the papers is also an introduction to whatever those who are discussing it are saying. But like your senior friend said, I agree with him completely. Education, we need to deliberately create that thing in our schools, right from secondary school. So you are introduced to it. And by the time you are getting to university, you have formed your minds as to where your loyalty will stand to agree to the super nation or to your ethnic nationality.
Yes.
And I was even going to make reference to that when I was running through my thoughts to say, what have we even done to integrate everybody? The NYSC is a perfect example, which is a way to make sure you are introduced to other parts of the country. And then find a way to be able to live with them. Again, I mean, if we want to go at it one by one as individuals, we can only do something like this, which we are doing. Have the national debate, have discourse, have intellectual conversation, have thought experiments, have people discuss it and be talking about it to form an agenda for the politicians and for the media people.
To pick it up.
That, I think, is one of the things we can, so I very much, when you mentioned to me that you like to have this conversation, I say, oh, I'd like to be part of it. It's simple.
Oh, fantastic.
So the thoughts you are having in one corner is now being put forward. So I put up my thoughts. I am open to someone saying, you know what, let's have a tripartite conversation about this thing you are talking about. Let's have a debate around it. We'll debate. This is how most of the scientists started the place of technology. They did what was called thought experiments. People sat down. You have theoretical physicists. They will sit down and have conversations about the theory of relativity. Oh, by the way, I have science background, so don't mind me if I
That's okay.
So they will talk about the theory of relativity I mean, these people will have debates, serious debates. They called it thought experiments.
Correct.
We need to have such things. So if government, as it were right now, is not looking in that direction, maybe because we have not found a nationalist at the center, we will now say, you know what, we must, of a necessity, bring everybody
together. These issues, exactly.
Then the intellectuals in the community needs to be doing these conversations. Let's begin to have something close to thought experiments. Let's begin to have something close to dialogue conversations. Social media has democratized publishing.
Correct.
So my thoughts are there. Someone's thoughts are there.
Let me bring it to another question for you. Let me bring another question. You know, people have also said, do we as a country need a vanity project? And when I say a vanity project, a project that we know is not going to make us money, but it's going to bring everybody together. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you talk about France now, the first thing that comes to the mind of anybody is the Eiffel Tower, right? If you talk about Brazil, the first thing that comes to anybody's mind is the Christ the Redeemer statue. Do you understand? You know, that kind of thing. You talk about New York, the mind comes, you know, and people start talking about Statue of Liberty, those kind of things. Now, those kind of things, even though they don't make money, they portend a very positive image of a country. Tourists come to see it. People focus less on the vices and see something like that, which portrays the. Does Nigeria need a project, something like that? Something to rebrand us? A few years ago, they were talking about rebranding Nigeria. Do you think that Nigeria needs rebranding? You work in that area a lot. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, if you want to change perception, you must understand that it is not going to be a medicine that you will take and get well. It's a journey. And you're going to have different tools within the bag to be able to achieve your objectives. If you start a vanity project, I can guarantee you that with the kind of mindset and detachment we have from a national orientation, there will be criticisms. Oh, yeah, they want to embezzle money. That's why they want to do that project. Nobody will.
Absolutely.
Remember the centenary celebration. When the budget of the centenary celebration came out by His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan, there were cries of, oh, no, that. But then, for me, it was a perfect example to celebrate our nationality. 100 years of independence and all that. But because we are have been browbeaten to believe that anybody
is bad,
we are suspects. We are suspecting it. So first thing is do a roadmap of trying to reorientate us. Just change that mindset. And then once you do that, I think when Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, not this last time, when he was a military president, he was trying to change the minds of people into agriculture. And one of the things he used was a national TV program called The Cock Crow Down. It was all centered around making people see the benefits of agriculture. So you might now center right now around the media, trying to, if I want to go at this and I want to have my short, medium, and long term, my long term will go after as a president, for instance, if I want to fix it, I will go after, my immediate time will go after the media guys, put them into a room, reorientate them, sell my agenda to them. Whatever I need to do, get them to see that one Nigeria is for everybody.
Everybody.
Do that.
Mr. Femi, you are absolutely right.
Institute intellectual discussions around what kind of nation do we want. Whatever my conversation is, I'm saying what kind of nation do we want. Let's have that debate. Let's have that discussion. But first thing, get the media on your side.
On your side.
The media,
I remember. I remember under President Babangida, for example. Do you remember there used to be something they called MAMSA? Professor Jerry Garner. They brought musicians around the whole country, mandators, all of these people. They went every state singing, bring the crowd, and then they will put a message out of what they wanted to do. In terms, there was a National Reorientation Agency, there was MAMSA, the Minister of Information at the time, Tony Momo, there was Letter to Nigerians and things like that. And I agree with you that we need something like that to reorientate us, because a lot of people are so disconnected from what Nigeria is trying to achieve that irrespective of what whoever is there, that person is not going to make a lot of progress.
No. So you see, MAMSA, National Orientation Agency, and all of them, they did a good job for the time for the length of time that it lasted. Correct. But you see, because the second leg of having a long time, putting schools, you go after the school, put it in the curriculum. I'll give you an example. My children goes to a religious school, secondary school. Okay. And it is part of the curriculum, what they call spiritual developments. Correct. It is not in the national curriculum, as it were, but because it is a religious school, they put that in there. So if you are coming to that school, they do not discriminate against you as either a Muslim or a Christian. If you want to come, you come. But then there is this course that everybody exactly. So if we do the same thing to say, let us have national orientation, begin to have discussions around begin to have debates. When we were in secondary school, we used to have debates. Is this okay? Is that not okay? Those things will begin to educate us. Find those guys who are singing. Commission some people to sing songs around nationalism. Nationality. We cannot remove the place of these the artists, entertainment, videos, all of those things, movies, and all of that from national orientation. Some of the things we learned about the foreign world were from movies. Correct. So you cannot say, oh, it's just for people who are lazy. It is a very strong tool for national orientation. So while that is going on, you are dealing with people at a particular age. You can now begin to go to schools and begin to lay the foundation for changing everybody. So give yourself a 20, 25 years old plan. Build that nation. You will succeed in doing that. But if you just go out, you only have 4 years, at best 8 years. Yes. If you go only at the media and you're trying to change them at the media, it's not enough. But then that is where I will start from, while trying to affect the curriculum. The curriculum. And go forward. That is very interesting. And then also get intellectuals to begin to have conversations around the country called Nigeria. From there, people will get bold to be able to say, we want Nigeria, not a division. Because for me as a business person, I want a united Nigeria, because a big market is good for business. Exactly. It works better for business for everybody. Exactly. Yes. Oh, okay. Now let me switch the discussion slightly. One of the other things that also challenges my mind, is whenever I see, you look at so many of our governors, senators, and people, many of them carry dual citizenship. I remember many years ago, do you understand? One of the governors from the eastern part, he's never lived in that part before. He was a medical doctor or so in the US. He will come home and he will just come and become governor, and then he will run into trouble. And once his term is over, he leaves the place and goes back to the US. I keep asking people, should we at this stage still be allowing people who own dual citizenship to lead our country? And please, before you answer that question, let me tell you where I'm coming from. Yeah? You look at the US now, for example, as much as people make noise, if you are not born in the US, you cannot be president of the US. You cannot migrate, you and I now cannot migrate to the US and say we want to be president in 20 years from now. No, we cannot. You understand? If you look at a place like India, you look at a country like India, just as an example, if you want to become a citizen, there are many Indians in the UK. They cannot take a UK citizenship without losing the one in India. You have to. Ordinary Cameroon, don't let me say ordinary, even our next door neighbor, Cameroon, you cannot have dual citizenship. You cannot. So, and I know that these are tough things. They are tough things, by the way. But the truth of the matter is that if Nigeria is going to change,
there has to be some sacrifices that we need to start making. Do you actually, what are your thoughts? Do you think that this is going to make a difference to how we are being led at all? Dual citizenship, what do you think?
Well, I mean, this is the way I see it. Number one, I'm not against dual citizenship.
No, I'm not. I have a dual citizenship, by the way. So
I'm trying to look for the right way to put my thoughts forward. If you are going to make a difference, or your vision is a function of how far you can see, and then your ability to achieve that vision is a function of the people you have to work with, the resources you can pull in. Anybody who is going to have a vision above where he is probably would have seen the outside world.
Correct.
And then you say, this is possible. So you can dream above the people you have to lead. To be able to put resources in, sometimes may have to deal with the fact that you can latch on to your citizenship of that other country. To be able to say, I need these resources for my other people. So anything, I don't see anything bad.
You don't see a problem with it. Okay.
I don't see a problem with it. Because even if you have single citizenship and you are incompetent, there's nothing you can do.
You'll still be incompetent. I see your point.
You'll still be incompetent. If you have dual citizenship and you are incompetent, you'll still be incompetent. But then you start, if you are now competent, you can assess things faster than somebody who probably has a single citizenship. I wouldn't know, I wouldn't know how Dr. Okonjo-Iweala was able to use her citizenship to help us when she was the Minister of Finance under Obasanjo. But of course, our debt was forgiven. It might be as a result of her knowing the way the international monetary system and all of
works. Okay.
And then again, she carries here the American passport as well.
Perhaps, she has a US passport, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Perhaps she was able to tell her friends and say, come, this is my other country, come and help us. I don't know. But whatever it is you want to achieve, apart from your vision, you need resources. Resources may have to be in form of capital, in form of network, in form of people who can run with that vision. So as long as your dual citizenship is able to add value to us. In fact, if you want to have 3, 4, 5, go for it.
Very good. Very good. I see your point. And it's a very valid point. And I thank you for that. I thank you for the honesty of the answer, you see, because it's something that always intrigues my mind. And I wanted to get the feedback from people to just understand how they feel. Okay, now let me ask you another question, Mr. Femi. So when we were kids, as school children, there were days that we looked forward to. Children's Day, May 27th. We went white tennis shoe, we would get a small flag, we would go and wave it. October 1st, National Day. There was a display. I'm not even talking in Abuja or Lagos. I grew up in Ado Ekiti, in Ekiti State. We grew up in rural areas. It was a big day. Children from all over, all the schools. Now, recently, what I found recently is that these things don't happen anymore. My mom is a teacher, or my mom owns a school. And I was asking her on Children's Day, I said, are you not going to get your kids ready to go out for children's school? She said, when was the last time that happened? Nobody's done that for years. And I'm like, what? We don't do Children's Day anymore. So,
Children's Day. You have to be the government to take your children out on Children's Day on your own. You see, what I see, I had a WhatsApp chit chat with a couple of people, and there was this meme going out that at some point, I think it was 25 kobo for a meal at the University of Ibadan way back. I said, people who ate this food are the ones who made this country to become like this. And somebody says, how dare I talk like that? These are people who contributed to Nigeria. I said, we see their contribution and their legacy. They are the ones who taught our teachers and our lecturers. We thank them. But then they are the ones who also taught the people in government who are mismanaging everything and throwing everything away. So what I have seen increasingly is it seems nobody is thinking for the future generation. And somebody was trying to define nationality or as a partnership in quote between living and the dead and the unborn. So it seems that we have had a good partnership with the dead.
Yes,
we have forgotten the unborn. So we seem to talk about what happened in the past without even looking at the good things that happened in the past. Or let me put it differently. We, this present people, have refused to honor the dead without thinking for the unborn. So all of those things about, for instance, the universities have been shut for over a year. They went on strike for about 10 months. They came back and they are ready to go again. After the ASU went on strike and came back, then NASU also went on their own strike. So for over a year, the future of the country has been suspended. And somebody is going to come back in another time and say, where are the youths? How are they going to take over? How?
Because we've not prepared them for it,
Nobody's preparing them. Even if you hear someone who is 21, 22-year-old, and you compare it with a 21, 22-year-old from another country, you will wonder the difference in their thoughts, the difference in their ambition and the things they want to do. Education here has not been taken seriously. And it's a sad commentary on all our leaders. Nobody seems to pay attention to what is going on. That is why, for instance, we have COVID-19 pandemic, and there's no response from our researchers, so to speak, that is actionable. Yeah, we have people who say, oh, I have answers, come and do this, come and do that. But outside of that, there is no actionable thing that you can say
that is going on.
Our sciences, our educational system, because we are not focusing on them, and it is a bad commentary on our political leaders. But
so, Mr. Femi, hold on then. So you see, I thank you for this. You see, for me, this is why I'm holding this challenge, this series. My question is, and everything that you're saying, absolutely spot on. My only worry is, how can we fix it? How can we fix that? Let's say today, give me an example. Let me put you on the spot. Yeah, I'll put you on the spot. Say you were made president today. How do we fix this problem? Because see, you've talked the issue of education now. You've talked on healthcare. Do you understand? And basically, in all of these facets of our national life, we are failing everywhere. So the question is, what is it? What is it that is making us fail? Is it the system or the people? Is it that our system is wrong? What is it?
Well, I mean, everything, as far as I'm concerned, like they say, everything rests on leadership, whether you like it or not. Now, are we willing, as citizens, are we willing to go to school? You know the answer. Of course, yes.
Yes.
The amount of money that goes into neighboring Ghana or that is exported.
Exactly. that we're paying to the US and UK. Yeah. Exactly.
It's mind-boggling. It's a lot much more than the amount of money government is spending on all our universities together. So what I suggest to you is that we are willing to go to school. We want to learn. But what I have seen...
Femi, are we willing to pay that money? The money we're paying in Ghana, are we willing to pay that in Nigeria?
I think we are willing to pay it. Put a system in place to make sure. Because, okay, so I went to Ghana to go and pay it. Are you suggesting that I would rather not want to have my child in my backyard and go to a distant instead of going to Ghana to go and pay that kind of money?
That kind of money. I see.
You see, the reason is that, yes, the Nigerian environment is such that you have the rich and you have the poor. See, the average Nigerian parent will spend his last kobo giving education to his child.
Correct.
Instead of spending that money in any other way. We make that investment in education. But I think that what is lacking in our attempts to provide education for Nigerians is lack of vision as to what we want or the contribution of education to nation building. It seems that there has been no connection between our educational system and nation building.
Exactly.
So we raise people who do not even understand how their skill set affects the whole. And again, it boils down to our leaders. For instance, you see people discuss science and tech when you go abroad, and you see a young man who is probably like 25, is leading a multi-million-dollar tech company.
Correct.
And you are wondering, this kind of education this guy has, where did he get it from? It seems once you see people who are doing fantastic things in the Nigerian economic environment that are young, check it out. They've had foreign education.
Yeah.
9 out of 10, that guy has had foreign education.
Foreign education.
That is the commentary on the way our education is going. It seems for instance, while you see some schools abroad trying to provide education or provide courses for emerging technology or the way the world is evolving.
Correct. The way the world is going. Yeah.
Have nothing new. It is still the same set of courses that they taught us.
That were offering in 1960.
Exactly. That's what they have. Wow. So there's no connection between that and nation building.
Wow.
For instance, you get to some schools, everybody's aware artificial intelligence is going to take over things. Yeah. I don't know any university that is offering artificial
intelligence in Nigeria. I see. I see.
So you begin to see that our education is about, let's go and just mark the register, I have a degree. But when you now take that university graduate with university graduate from another part of the world, you are wondering whether this guy from my country went to school or not.
Wow. Man, Mr. Femi, I thank you. I thank you so much for your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It worries me, it burdens me. I encourage all of us, most of us, it's our generation. We need to help the next generation. Please, in our own spaces, I just encourage us to keep this conversation going. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate your time.
And I must commend you for having something like this and going out of your way to look for people to be able to address national issues. I think if you continue like this, you will have, because everywhere you discuss, there's no lack of love for the country.
Correct.
But people are angry at the fact that simple things cannot be done right.
That's the problem.
And I do not want to criticize those in government because I do not know what they know.
There are challenges. I agree. You see, I agree with you on that completely. Yeah.
So we must continue to have conversation because, again, some of them cannot do better than the ideas that are open to them.
Correct. Correct. And this is why
you want to solve the problem. You are going to look into the your knowledge bank to look for a tool that you can use to fix the problem. So this kind of conversation, if you keep it going, perhaps you will be able to get a bigger platform to keep the conversation going.
Hopefully.
And perhaps you would inspire some other people to say, oh, let us begin to have conversations in this direction. And what that will do is we'll create a knowledge bank or a repository of knowledge bank for whoever is in government to say, one guy living in one back town said this. Can somebody think about this a bit further? And then we can use that to solve our problems. I really commend you for your consistency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi.
I hope that the objective for which you started it, you would achieve it and go beyond it. And thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And do enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye. Bye.